Hey folks, welcome back to the Nasdaq Sniper Academy. Today is Wednesday, August 26th, and you might be thinking, what in the world happened to the 5-minute ORB or even the 15-minute ORB today? If you played the ORB today on the Nasdaq, Wednesday, August 26th, you might be wondering how come it failed. What really happened? Let me explain. Let me show you the charts, and let me show you what was going on today. We were in what's called a mid-state at open. Let me show you this. This is a part of my protocol, a part of my Nasdaq Sniper protocol. When price is in a mid-state, now mid-state means we start, price is about 40 to 80 points from the 200 SMA, right? So price is under VWAP. Let's say price starts around here, and it's 40 to 80 points away from the 200 SMA on the 1-minute chart. The snapback play is when price pulls all the way back up, 80 to 160 points. I want you to remember this number, up to 160 points. Pulls back, finds a fair value gap. Right? On open, price comes up, does like two legs, shoots all the way up. And for those who play the 5-minute ORB break, you're thinking, oh, this is going to be good. But then guess what? It's really just coming into the fair value gap to go back down. 80 to 160 points. I want you to remember 160 points for the full snapback play. But you need to find a fair value gap. Okay. Remember this chart because I want to show you what today looked like. You're going to see how close this resembled our protocol. Let's take a look at the chart. So now look at this. Let's look at this. Is the big picture. This was the ORB, this yellow line, and this was the 5-minute ORB from yesterday. But let's take a look at price today. When price opened this morning, it opened in what we call a mid-state. Price was around 29,170 at open, right? This orange line is the 200 SMA, which you see is around 29,210, let's say. So price was about 50 points from the 200 SMA. Okay. So price was in a mid state. Narrow state is like this here. This is when price starts real tight and the 20 SMA and the 200 are real tight. You see this, folks? This would be called a narrow state. Price is real tight in between the 200 and the 20 SMA. This line is the 20 SMA. But here, the 20 SMA is way down here. So that's a mid state. So that's like 160 up to 210. So you're looking at 50 points, right? It's not close like this. You see how, folks? It's far. So in a mid state, we don't take a power bar. Even though a big, huge power bar showed up from a mid state, you're always looking for the snapback play. We just saw that. And what was the number we said? We said 80 to 160 points away. So if we take our measuring line and we go from 170 and we go all the way up and find 160 points, to 270 is 100. So now we need 330. Guess what? We go and we find 160 points and we look for a fair value gap, which guess what? Happened to be right here. I'll show you this, folks. This was an open fair value gap that hadn't been closed yet from yesterday's 5-minute ORB. Well, what did price do? Just like our protocol says, you can, in a mid-state, price can shoot all the way up to 160 points, find the fair value gap, and then reverse. And as you see, price went all the way up from 170 to 233, 163 points, came into that gap, came back down. Normally, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bam. 5-minute ORB, boom, you get a nice break, you got to retest, you got to go. Or if you played on a break because you got a fair value gap, you're thinking this is good. But guess what? Bam, it only came up to here. Those who played the 15-minute ORB, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Guess what? You entered here. And guess what? You got hurt. I tried to play back. I thought that the price might go up. So I took a quick $98 loss. No big deal. But I had this mapped out, and I should have known. I should have known because that's my protocol. Snapback play. It's in mid-state. You do the snapback play. You ignore, folks. If you're in my school, I want you to pay attention to this. This is the only time we ignore the power bar. Is when it's in a mid-state. Mid-state, we're always looking for a snapback play. The power bar is a play we only play in the narrow state. If you're in my school, you know what I'm talking about. Mid-state, we look for these fair value gaps that are 80 to 160 points away, and we short that thing because the overall trend is bearish. Look at this. Down, 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 down. Overall trend. Let me get rid of all this stuff. You see, we want to stick with the overall trend. I missed it, folks. It's in my, it's a part of my, I'm going to put these two pictures together. It's a part of my repertoire, and I didn't play it like I should. So that's my fault, folks. I apologize. But you see this overall trend? Bearish. So what's the snapback play? Look for a snapback, a fair value gap up to 160 points away. Where was it? Right here. The last fair value gap with the overall trend. That's what we teach. And that's what happened. So it wasn't as confusing as you might think. But that's why the 5-minute ORB or the 15-minute ORB didn't play out, because that's what the price was actually doing. It was coming to fill that last fair value gap on this overall downtrend. You see it, folks? Overall downtrend. Came into that gap. Then it came back and filled the original gap it created. It's just going gap to gap. Okay. So I'm going to put these two pictures side by side. And they almost look identical. And you see for yourself exactly why we have this as a protocol here at the Nasdaq Sniper Academy. All right, folks. So do you see? It almost looks exactly the same. See how price starts down here at a mid-state on my protocol, and it comes up into a fair value gap about 100. In this example, it looks like 130, 140 points away, right? And again, we said it could go up to 160. That's usually what we see, 120, 130, 140. Guess what? This is today. Price opened, pulled up into this fair value gap, just like we have it drawn out on our protocol. And then price tanked. And as you see, came into this fair value gap. See that? Price opened in mid-state, up 160 points into the fair value gap to go back down to the bottom of it. That's why the 5-minute ORB did not play out. This was mid-state. Look it almost looks exactly the same as my protocol. Snapback play. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That's what price can do sometimes in a mid-state, and that's when we don't worry about the 5-minute ORB. We are trying to look for this fair value gap, 120, even 160 points away, to get in and short with the overall trend. Hope that helps, folks, and happy trading. God bless.